Hi there, it's the Sims 4 Master and welcome to this brand new The Sims 4 speed build, and not just the speed build. I'm back with the Around the World speed build series, and this time it's not just one video because I've been pre-recording a lot and I can tell you there are more Around the World speed builds coming up. But we're starting off with this one, which is again a speed build from Spain, but not the mainland in Spain, but from IBIZA, which is, I believe, what you pronounce it in English like, because in Dutch it's different, but I believe it's IBIZA if you pronounce it the English way, which is what I should be doing because I'm talking English right now. But I was just thinking about new around the world speed builds I could be doing, and then I came across IBIZA. I was like, there's some really cool villas out there. And then I thought they're pretty typical for IBIZA, or at least I would really recognize it, I think. Of course, I wouldn't be able to recognize every villa there, but I think there are some very typical things for IBIZA villas, which is what I've implemented in this build. And I'm going on a holiday, not to Ibiza, but in like less than a week from now, and therefore I've been pre-recording a lot because I'll be gone for a couple of weeks, and also afterwards I'll not immediately be able to record videos anymore, simply because I won't, and therefore I have to pre-record some stuff, which is what I've been doing. And the positive thing about that is that I know what's coming up, and I can tell you I'll not be uploading very much, one video each week, which is still not like crazy less, but it's not like very much either. But I mean, I can't pre-record for 4 weeks or even more, and then record like a video for every day. Also, I really wanted to keep the quality high, and I know that if I would be able to, or if I would be making 30 videos, the quality would just really suffer. Therefore I thought, what would I personally like to see most? And that's speed builds. What would you like to see most? It's definitely speed builds, or at least for most of you it is. So therefore I thought, I'm going to create speed builds, and I've been creating very many of those. So every week there will be a new speed build coming up from this week on, but I'll talk more about that later on because we've got plenty of time, because this is a really long video. But about the build, it's from IBIZA. I thought it's summer, or at least in the northern hemisphere it is. I know if you live in Australia or in Africa, South Africa at least, which is where I'm going, it's not summer, it is winter, which is still probably pretty hot in all those places, except for like this southern part of like Argentina and Chile. But nevertheless, what I wanted to say is it's summer, or at least in the place where IBIZA is, Europe, and it's like a party island. Very many people really like it. I've never been there, so I've not built this based on my own experience. Also, I'm not 18 yet, so you can't visit any clubs in IBIZA yet if you're not 18. But I just realized, like, okay, I'm almost 18, which went like pretty quickly, or at least like all of a sudden you're almost 18 and you can do whatever you want, which is also visiting clubs in Ibiza. So I would be able to visit all the cool DJs there, which would be really cool. So I thought I'm just going to do a speed build, an around the world speed build on an Ibizian house. Is that a way to say it? Or an Ibiza house? Yeah, it's sort of hard to pronounce this. It's not really my kind of word, but it's sort of hard. Yeah, it's not the reason not to create this video, or at least that's what I was thinking. But I'm not the best at pronouncing that. But I thought, it's a cool island, though I've never been there, but I've heard from people that it's nice, or at least everyone is going there, or at least very many people, and it's like visited by all the stores in Europe, so it should be cool. And I thought, you've got some really cool villas there, so I'm just gonna create one. And in the end, it turned out to be really cool. If you want to use this one in your own game, you can. You should check out the gallery ID Dutch Sims Master, and then you can just put this in your own game. Also, if you don't have all the items that I'm using, you should still perfectly fine be able to use this. I think it really turned out to look cool. And it's again a little bit different from like the previous builds I've done, and personally I think it turned out to be pretty recognizable, which is always what I'm aiming for with these builds. As you can see, I'm building it in Windenburg on like this huge lot, not because this was the most Ibizian area I was able to find in the game. And also, you know, because we don't really have like a tropical place in The Sims 4 yet, this is like the most tropical we've got. And also by using a huge lot, I was able to add like the environment of Ibiza, which I personally always think is really cool, to add the environment which a build is from, which is what I did with, for instance, the Cambodian house. And also with this speed build, I've done that by adding very many olive trees, because I believe that's what you've got there, and therefore it's also pretty typical. So yeah, also you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram account is DutchSims4Master, and there you can stay up to date with the trip I'm going on, because I'll be uploading photos whenever I have photos I want to share. I really like to take photos, so probably I'll be uploading or posting very many photos. So you can follow me there while I'm gone, and that way you also stay sort of up to date with what's happening and when what video will be online and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited to upload all the speed builds, because I've seriously been pre-recording like 4 speed builds in 5 days, which is pretty insane and intense, because normally it takes quite some time to create a speed build, and it still took quite some time. But for some reason I had a lot of inspiration, so I was able to create that many, especially at this time where I had to create so many, because yeah, that's just what you have to do when you're pre-recording. But I'm sort of proud of the way they turned out, because they're all so different. I should just announce the other 2 speed builds, or the around the world speed builds already at least. One is going to be from Sri Lanka, which is, I think, the coolest around the world speed build I've done so far. It's really turned out cool. And another one is from Tokyo, which is really cool as well. It's like a very modern townhouse in the environment. Maybe if you've ever been to Tokyo, this is recognizable. If not, I'll be talking about that in that video, which are coming up sometime soon. I haven't come up with like an order or a schedule yet. I just know that this is going to be the first one, because this is going online while I'm still in like the Netherlands and not on a holiday yet. So again, with this house, I've gone for like a very open plan, or not necessarily an open plan, but just an open inside outside living area. And I used one of the suggestions which I got from one of you viewers, because I always struggled creating like places which seem to be open. I also had that with the, what was it, the modern cottage or the modern lodge, one of the latest houses I uploaded, which turned out to be pretty cool as well. But I created that outside indoor living area, but for some reason I didn't really know how to create that without like adding windows, because otherwise, as you probably know, if you play The Sims, the lighting sort of screws up if you don't close off like an area, and you don't close it off if you leave it open, obviously. But then one of the viewers suggested a really cool plan, that by adding pillars and then also adding the arches, you can actually create an open area without the lighting screwing up. But later on in this video, you'll see what I mean, because I've done it in this one. And indeed, it worked out pretty well. It's not perfect, I've got to say that. They should really just add arches or archways or whatever you call those in the game, which are like better and which are full height, because that's a problem. They're not full height, so therefore I have to heighten them by pressing 9 a lot, which is, if you have move objects on, the way to move items up, sort of. But by doing that, you sort of create like a visual glitch, which is not terrible, but it's not perfect, but it's like not a very big problem. Or at least, you know, I'm sort of picky with those things, but I didn't really find it a big problem, so probably you won't find it a problem either. But yeah, what makes this building typical is, first of all, this open plan sort of, and this veranda which you see in the front. Also those overhead wooden structures are very typical for Ibiza houses, or at least that's my impression. Also the color palette with the white and the stone, the stone I added, that's pretty typical. And also they're pretty modern. Often, of course, like sort of rich people design or build houses in Ibiza, and therefore it's sort of modern, because that's often like a little bit more luxurious. They want to spend their money on that, or at least they maybe just like the style. I don't know. But that's what I went for with this one as well. But still sort of tropical and beach-like, which I felt like the interior really turned out pretty good. But it's really getting hard to create good-looking bedrooms because seriously, yeah, I'll talk about that in later videos as well. But seriously, we need more beds in The Sims 4 because we don't have enough of them, and creating bedrooms is just such a pain in the ass because you don't have any items. But yeah, hopefully someday they'll bring out like a stuff pack fully focused on bedrooms. But then all of a sudden there's like a quarterly teaser, which I haven't made a video about because it's seriously nothing. What they're bringing out is a toddler stuff pack, and I'm like, seriously, the last 10 stuff packs or expansion packs or whatever we got were for toddlers and kids and family stuff and stuff. I'm really not interested. I'm sorry if you like it. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't really matter if I don't like it, then you're like totally fine to like it. But I personally just really am not into that stuff. I just want good looking stuff, not stuff for kids, because that stuff never looks good. It's way too colorful and just looks as if it's just straight from IKEA, if you ask me. I know that, yeah, I shouldn't complain too much about it, but that's just really not the stuff I like. And then in the meantime, we've not had new good-looking beds since the base game. All the beds in the game look like they're from the base game. I seriously don't understand the way they're thinking that they add enough beds, and then they do realize that they should probably add some more toddler stuff. So yes, maybe it's better than I'm expecting, but probably that stuff pack will be loved by very many people, even though they do hate the fitness stuff pack, even though I personally love the fitness stuff pack. It's not about fitness at all, which is hilarious because seriously, there's like 2 fitness apparatus and 1 climbing wall, but the items in that pack look so good. Seriously, I'm getting sort of passionate about this because those items are seriously good. I've been adding them in all the new speed builds, I believe, and that pack is for me totally worth it because I'm adding those items all the time. I know I'll be adding them for as long as The Sims 4 is still a thing. I'll be adding them all the time because they look so good. But for instance, that toddler parenthood stuff pack, adding almost no item from that pack, seriously, because it's not my style. I know styles can differ. Maybe that's one of your favorite packs and you don't really like the modern industrial items from the fitness stuff pack. No problem, but I hope they are getting sort of diverse with it, and seriously more bedroom stuff, if you ask me. But maybe they're watching this, probably not. If they do, I'm very sorry that I'm getting so passionate about this. I know you're working hard on it, but just more bedroom stuff. Where did this come from, man? Okay, well, that's what was released. Oh, it came from my hate for the fact that there's not enough bedroom stuff. And then I came up with the idea that toddler stuff is coming up. Well, I'll probably make a video about it when it comes out. But yeah, it won't be too much probably. Well, of course, I'm just gonna look at it. Maybe it's much better than expected, and there is like a good possibility that it is, but I'm just really more into the modern stuff. But by the way, here you see me adding the olive fields, or at least the olive tree fields, which is very typical for IBIZA. I really did my best to make the terrain look good. It took quite some time, as you saw. I had a first try which looked terrible, but this looks pretty good. Also, I'm very happy about the color of the pool because it's very bright blue, which is also what you often see in IBIZA. So far, that's pretty cool that it worked out. So there's very many things which The Sims 4 is very good at, but there's some parts which could really be better. And also, I really want to have a new expansion because I'm noticing that the channel is sort of dying simply because there's no new stuff coming out. And also there's very many new Sims channels coming up, which is cool because I know that, people get inspired by watching people like me or just other Simmers to create their own videos. But, there is just a limited amount of people watching Sims videos, and therefore it's sort of a restricted audience. And with so much people, the demand gets lower, sort of, we're not going all economic, but it's just sort of hard to come up with creative ideas, new ideas, and also, especially if there's no new packs coming out, you really have to do your best. So I hope these around the world speed builds will be liked by all of you, and otherwise I would really like to see suggestions for what I could add, or what kind of videos I could make to really please you, I guess. But I personally really have been having fun with what I've been recording lately, because it's just getting really good, if you ask me. Then here you see me doing the trick with the arches, which, as you can see, it works pretty well because we've still got the lighting going on. Later on in the video, I still tried to change it. I felt like I was very smart doing something, but then later on I realized that part did actually change the lighting. So in the end, I'm stuck with this plan, which is perfectly fine for now. I'm adding it in the Sri Lankan house as well, which is, like I said, coming up sometime during the coming weeks as well. Just stay tuned and subscribe to my channel if you want to see that, because seriously, we're so close to 100,000 subscribers. It's like crazy. Whenever I started, I just saw like Curtis Purdy, I believe, the man who used to make Sims videos. I watched his videos and I was like, I should start doing that as well, because I like the game. And back then I wasn't really good at building, or at least not like, it's not special sort of. But I just started creating them and I thought, this is fun. So I made more, and then I created like 10 videos and I was like, whoa, 10 videos, pretty cool. And then I started doing more videos because I thought, this is cool. And it was just some sort of fun hobby, I guess. And then, yeah, seriously, like we're 5 years later now, and this is seriously gotten out of hand. First of all, I'm 18 and still doing this, which is really not what I expected, I guess, back when I was like 12, 13, well, 13 or 14 when I began. I'm almost 18. I'm not sure whether I said that, but it doesn't really matter. And then now here I am, and then at some point I was able to turn this sort of into my job, or at least a small job, holiday job, sort of next to school, because of course I've seriously just had to go to school, and still this is some sort of cool way to have a job and still have fun and do what I want, sort of, and not having to work at a supermarket or like bring people their newspaper, and really being creative and do what I like. And also with the SketchUp stuff, I've been having projects, which is really cool, because those projects allow me to work in SketchUp, which is architecture, obviously, which is what I will be studying next year. So that's really in line already with what I'm going to be doing. And therefore, like, it's so crazy how this entire YouTube thing has gotten out of hand, and I'm very happy with it. I do notice that recently it's been sort of going downhill, because I've been doing my exams, which I passed cum laude, which I'm very happy with. And then also recently I heard that I passed the IB exams in English, which I did on higher level, which is pretty cool as well. That's maybe something that's more familiar for, well, I touched the microphone, more familiar for like the international viewers. I know that the Dutch people will definitely know what diploma I'm talking about when I'm saying I'm graduated, sort of, but you're not familiar with the Dutch system because it's not like the English or the American system. But the IB program is like international, so more international people will probably know about that. I did IB in English, so I finished that as well, but yeah, that took quite some time. I've really had to focus on that like the past year, and therefore I've not been able to upload that much. Then I went on a holiday during which I couldn't upload for 2 weeks, which hasn't happened in like a really long time, which was also, I hated that because I really wanted to upload, but I couldn't because I didn't have time, and I was on a holiday, which is why I'm really pre-recording this time, because I don't want that to happen again. But during that time it went sort of downhill, and now I thought I would actually be reaching like, often I was like at 2,000 subscribers a month, but currently it's like 800, which is not that much, and therefore it will take a little bit longer until I'm reaching 100,000 subscribers, which sort of sucks, but hey, sometime it will happen. But if you know anyone who likes to watch Sims videos, don't forget to just share this, because if they like it, you're probably making them happy, and then you can make me happy as well, because 100,000 subscribers, who would have thought that, sort of? I'm getting like a plague then. it's just cool. I'm sorry that I've gotten into this conversation. What have I done in the meantime? I've created the dining area, the kitchen, the living room, and then here we've got the first bedroom. And I've got to say, I can't complain about this bedroom. That's coming up in the next speed build because those, yeah, I'll talk about that later on. In like the other videos, yeah, sort of a cliffhanger, so you should check out those. But these ones turned out to be pretty cool. Especially this one. This was the first time I figured out that there was like a zebra rug, which I thought was pretty cool because it's sort of industrial. You either like it or you don't, I guess. In my real house, I would never want that. But in like The Sims, it's possible because you can just move it around and move it, like put it away whenever you don't want it anymore. But yeah, I think it turned out to be pretty cool, tropical. And also that mirror is really cool. I only just figured out that that came with the fitness stuff pack when I played around with it. Here I was thinking that I was being smart by adding those, what do you call them? They're not really arches, but whatever. Because that fixed the problem with the visual glitch, but it doesn't actually work. It's basically as if you're leaving the entire space open because the lighting is still screwed up inside if you leave it that way. So I only figured it out like much later, so you will see me fix that later on. Like right now I'm like, that doesn't work. And then here you see that the lighting is fixed. So personally, I really think here I'm looking around the building, I'm like, looking pretty cool. Because that's sometimes what you probably see me doing in those speed builds, like looking, do I like it? Am I proud of it? Do I want to continue? And then I continue working on it. I actually almost always finish a build. Well, that's not entirely, well, often. I think I finish like 70% of the builds I create, which is pretty good. Often because I also like have a plan of what I want to create. And also simply because I have to create these speed builds or want to create these speed builds, I sort of have to finish them because otherwise there's no video because you can't upload like half a build. But back in the day when I was younger, I would start something and never finish it. So that's something YouTube has really taught me. It's taught me to finish stuff which I start on, which is sort of funny because if I wouldn't upload these, sometimes I would maybe stop creating it, but then in that way you never have like an end result, which sucks because I really like to see the end result always, because in the end that's sort of what you're creating it for, I guess. But yeah, here I'm creating the master bedroom, which is like insanely huge. I realized that when I built it, or finished it at least. But hey, by adding some television and some seating area and like a very big walk-in closet at both sides, then it's perfectly fine. We've got a walk-in bathroom or an ensuite bathroom, as you call that, as well, because you can always walk in the bathroom, right? Hey, but yeah, that one turned out to be pretty cool as well, because I used the iced windows for this one. Maybe this is getting way too much into like Sims freakness, because like saying this very seriously, like iced windows, which as if it makes a difference. Well, it definitely does, because it looks a little bit cooler. If you ask me, I always like those walk-in closets. No, walk-in showers, that's what I mean. Though it's sort of strange because you can always sort of walk into the shower, right? But hey, here I really didn't know what to add. So I've got to say, if you're tuning in just here to watch the interior, just skip to like the flyer overview or something, because I'm personally not very proud of this part of the build. But here I'm also adding a gym later on, and just very many seating areas with some cool chairs, because that's something I've got to praise The Sims for. They've got cool chairs in this game and also cool lights. Seriously, those two aspects are spot on. I do want hanging chairs though, because those are the coolest thing ever. And also I would really like to have a possibility to create like very good infinity pools. This one has an infinity pool, but it's not like very good because you can't add a pond in front of it or like a fountain or whatever. And that would make it much cooler, because then you've got several levels, which is what infinity pools have. But here we've got like a fireplace, and then this is the end of the build. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this one. An overview is coming up right now. Don't forget that there's very cool new speed builds coming up in like a couple of weeks, or at least every week there will be a new speed build. They're gonna be cool, I can promise you that. And also don't forget to check out my Instagram, the link is in the description, and then you can see what I'm doing in South Africa and everything. So thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you back later.